We all know that if you train hard, you work hard, and you play hard, eventually you're going to get hurt. You're going to get injured. You're going to tweak something. So today, let's talk about some of the most popular recovery methods and see what is best for you. So I bet at some point in time you have been playing a sport, working, moving a friend, whatever, and you tweak something, sprained an ankle, what have you, right? What's the first thing that you did? You put ice on it, didn't you? I bet you did. Why? Because that's what you've been told. Ice, rice, rest, ice, compression, elevate, right? Well, what if I told you that the same guy who said to do that also came out and said he was wrong? Well, that's the case. In 1978, Harvard doctor Minkin said that the best thing to do was RICE, the RICE protocol, rest, ice, compress, and elevate. But in 2013, he came back out and said that he was wrong. He actually said that doing that can delay the healing process. He said that what you actually need to do is move the joint or the area, the hurt area more, and the more the blood rushes in, the more it's going to heal. Okay? So how does that work? Well, today I have notes. Usually when I talk, it's really off the top of my head, and I don't have notes or anything like that. It's just shit that's stored back here in the lizard brain somewhere. But today I wrote shit down, okay? So what happens is with all these recovery stuff, they basically kind of boil down to one thing. You want more blood in the area, because more blood in the area will flush out all the bad stuff, okay? It's called the lymphatic system. And I'm going to give you like a bare bones thing because I'm not a doctor or a medic or anything like that. I just talk to you like how I would talk to one of my buddies, and I break it down really simple like, so that way everybody can understand it. So basically, the lymphatic system, right? It drains excess fluid from the body tissue and it returns it to the bloodstream. So it takes all the swelling, all the bad stuff out, returns it to the bloodstream, and it goes away. The new blood comes in, replenishes it with all the nutrients and oxygen and stuff that blood has, right? And it makes it better. So essentially, the more you move something, right, the more blood goes in there, okay? Makes sense. The more blood that goes in there, the more it heals. Real basic bone stuff, okay? I'm going to tell you a secret right at the beginning of this, and then you can just turn this off. Almost everything that we do is for that. Your massages, your everything you do, your compression, your massages, your cryotherapy, everything, it's all just to get more blood in there. That's it, end of video. Another thing you've probably done if you ever sprained an ankle, I mean, I know I've done it a bunch, or a wrist or something, you probably just tape the shit out of it, don't you? You tape it so much that some bitch barely moves, and you're like, all right, now I can't hurt it again. But what's that doing? It's restricting the blood flow in there. As we just talked about, the more blood, the better it heals, right? So if you get a sprained ankle, the best thing you can do is just start walking on it, okay? Walk slow, move it around, things like that, okay? I'm not talking about start doing sprints. I'm talking about mobility, all right? So let's get into some stuff that I have used over the past since about 2004 or 5 or 6, somewhere in that time frame. I had a bad injury. I hurt my back. I don't know exactly how I did it. I first felt it when we were in Iraq. I think it was in 06, so around that time frame. What I did, and I did not know at the time, was I had herniated 2 of my discs. In my lower back, I have 1 good disc, and the rest are either herniated or bulging. Yeah, I mean, sorry. It's just the way life is. You treat your body like an amusement park for 40 plus years, that's what's going to happen, right? So what I did was the first people who I read about or saw or anything like that had anything to do with healing your body and any sort of recovery tools was in CrossFit. And the main person was Dr. Kelly Starrett. I have both of his books, The Supple Leopard and Sit to Stand or Desk Bound or something like that. I have those 2 books, and then I think he has another one out that I don't have. But anyway, those books are awesome. If you go to him, like The Supple Leopard especially, You just pick what part of your body hurts, you go to that chapter, and it tells you all the things you can do to help yourself out. And it's all really, really easy stuff, all right? So what's the first thing that everybody gets when they're talking about recovery, right? This is probably one of the most known things, are these bad boys, all right? Massage rollers, okay? You can get them super aggressive like this. You can make them out of just a piece of PVC pipe, right? You can get them just foam, it's pretty squishy. You can get them like this, where they have a little container where you can put the rest of your stuff in, which is pretty nice. I actually use this one quite a bit. What do? You put this on the ground, you lay on it on whatever body part, and you roll it back and forth, right? And what does it do? It massages your muscles, right? And what does that do? Back around full circle, it pushes old shit out, gets new blood in there, and gets the healing process going, okay? What else it can do is, if you're stiff, like me when I do front squats, my lats are really, really stiff. So I don't use these anymore, but you can roll that out and it'll help you get a better front rack position. Things like that, right? But again, it's just a massaging tool. It's almost the same exact thing as going to a masseuse, except a masseuse actually knows what they're doing, and you're just laying on the ground rolling around on this, and you have absolutely no idea what you're doing. But you saw it on a fucking YouTube video, so it's got to be good. All right? These things they're not bad. They're really not. You're limited by your body weight. You can actually put more weight on your body and really get in there if you want to, but you're kind of limited by your body weight, and you're also limited on your knowledge of how to use this and things like that, right? Because as Dr. Kelly Starrett says, if you're hurt in your elbow, the problem's probably not in your elbow. It's probably upstream or downstream of your elbow. So you got to kind of fix everything, right? Okay. Some more massaging things you can use is one of these. It's like a roller, right? It goes right on your rack, just like that. You put a pin in there, and then you put your back on it, roll it out. You can put it lower. You can roll out your hams, your glutes, kind of whatever body part you want to. It's really nice because it's stable, and these are kind of hard, so you can get in there deep. But again, you're kind of limited to your body weight. Some more things we got, right? We got the Supernova, developed by Kelly Starrett at Mobility Wad. This is basically a little bit bigger than a softball, and it's got all these little divots to kind of grind in your skin, right? We have what they call the Peanut, which is 2 lacrosse balls taped together. This is just a bigger version of that, right? Or you can just use 1 lacrosse ball. I found that the 1 lacrosse ball probably works the best for me because it's small, it's super dense and hard, and you can get it in all the nooks and crannies, right? If you have a pinpoint place in your hips or in your back, you can really dig that in there. Excuse me, because it's so small and hard. That's what she said. Another thing is just a softball. All right, so before I bought like stuff like this, I just had this. The tape's on there to give a little bit of grip on the ground. Obviously, the tape's on here to hold them both together. And these work. These have been working for a really long time. Okay, you can tell they're pretty old, they're dirty, they're gross, but I've used them a lot. And when I first started having a lot of back issues, these were my main go-tos. And a single lacrosse ball as well. Okay? But again, all of these, same thing. You're basically just replacing a masseuse with these, and you're rolling all around on the ground. If you know what you're doing, it's awesome. If you don't, then you're kind of not doing nothing, right? Let's see what else we got. Massage sticks. This was the very first one I ever bought. This was a long time ago. It's called The Stick. There you go. I bought it from elitefitness.com. And this thing was pretty cool. I mean, I use it a lot, especially on my shins for getting shin splints from running and rucking a lot. And on my calves, this thing was awesome. It's a little bendy, as you can see, and then these are free spinning. So you roll it like this. On your thighs and on your anywhere on your lower body, I found it worked the best. On your upper body, not so much. You can't get really that much pressure. This is the same thing, kind of like a newish model. It's got little grooves in there, so it digs in a little bit better, but it's not as bendy. It doesn't really bend. But they're basically the same thing. And again, they're just replacing masseuse. All right. One thing that I use almost daily is this, just a massage gun, okay? This is not a super expensive $600 one. I think this is like 80 bucks, and I got it like on Groupon or something like that. And I've used it so much that the ball's even worn down to like shiny. I mean, I use it literally every day. Before I go to the gym, I like to hit all the body parts I'm going to work that day with one of these. And I'm not looking for miracles, but what it does for me is the same thing. Again, you're just, trying to flush out the bad stuff and bring in the new blood, right? All this thing does for me is kind of wakes up the area. I have a kind of a bad shoulder. So if I use this a lot right on my shoulder area, all up in here like this, and on my biceps, my bicep tendon, on my elbows and things like that, it just makes it feel a lot better when I'm warming up. Regardless if I use this or not, once I get warm, it's okay. But when I first start warming up, it's pretty sore and pretty tight. I use this, it loosens it up, and works a lot better. Highly, highly, highly recommend one of these. Again, you can get these on Amazon for really cheap nowadays. You can get them a lot smaller too. This one's pretty big because I got it a couple years ago. But I use it every day. Let's see, what else we got here? Oh, these things. Who hasn't used some sort of Tiger Balm, right? This is Workhorse, Tiger Balm. And this is something I got in Alaska. This is the Devil's, I don't know, whatever. Let's see what it is. It's called Natural Pain Relief. It's from the Devil's Club. I guess it's a plant that has a lot of thorns on it up in Alaska. They take it out, they turn it into that stuff, and you're supposed to rub it on your sore muscles. It's supposed to work. I think for me, this is more of a placebo thing. I haven't really found it to work all that much, even though I bought it and I've tried it and I continue to buy it and I continue to use it. I think it's more of a placebo thing. But you know what? If it is a placebo, but you like it, it works for you, then fucking do it. Oh, what else we got? We got one of these. So when I first hurt my shoulder, I was given these by my doctor, Flector patch. Let's see if we can. Burp. What they told me about this was basically a steroid patch. You take it off, it's about yay big. You slap it on the area and you leave it on there for 12 hours and it slowly absorbs. Your doctor has to give it to you. What else? Oh, you guys, I know all of you guys have seen this. Kinesiology tape, right? You've all seen this. You've watched the Olympics, you've watched everything. You see these guys with fucking tape everywhere, all over their body, right? So kinesiology tape is designed to, essentially, your skin is in a whole bunch of different layers, right? So it's designed to kind of pick up that top layer and be able to move it around, which again is supposed to cause more blood to flow in there, blah, 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 blah. Everything we talked about, right? So the science has said that this doesn't work or doesn't matter. But again, placebo effect. If you think it works and you put it on and you feel better, then why not fucking do it? Who cares, right? Okay. Oh, here we go. Voodoo floss, right? I don't know if you've ever seen this before, but again, Dr. Kelly Starrett, if you have a bad ankle, tendonitis, things like that, you wrap this sumbitch around there all the way until right before you get numbing, like in your hands if you're on your elbow. And then you move this, right? You move it around, take a lacrosse ball, you roll on a lacrosse ball, all that stuff. Again, it compresses everything, right? It pushes all the bad stuff out. When you take this off, it loosens everything up, your skin balloons up, all the good blood's coming in. It's all the same stuff. It really is. But this stuff actually works very, very well. If you have any kind of issues like tendonitis in your elbows, in your joints, any joint or anything like that, it works phenomenal. So something else that I did to help out that actually helped was I did some yoga. I know it sounds weird, but I didn't do like all the yoga stuff. I picked out a couple things that were significant to me and what I needed. This is just a yoga block, and it did help a lot. Especially if you do certain things, you can see an imbalance in between your whatever. Like for me, my right hip and leg are way more flexible than my left hip and leg. So right now I'm working on that, because the more imbalanced you are, let's say you're doing a squat, I'll find one foot kicks out, one foot doesn't, right? Obviously that's a bad sign. So doing things to fix it. Dr. Dick Hartzell and these jump stretch bands, right? If you've been around the training industry for any amount of time, you're gonna see these guys. These guys were originally developed for, they're called the jump stretch band. Originally developed to help people jump and to stretch out, right? There's a certain few things you can do with these to help you stretch. Obviously I have 700 of them behind me. To help you stretch out, there's certain moves you can do, and they help a lot. If you go on, again, Dr. Kelly Starrett's thing, and you follow him, he talks about this a lot. You have to go to a lot of his older videos, but it talks about it a lot. This is just another stretch thing. It actually goes like on your foot, and you just have all these loops to grab on and pull to help it out. Another thing you can do is use the uprights of your rack or a door jamb. Put one leg straight up in the air and one leg straight down, and hold that for like 2 minutes and then switch off. You'd be surprised to see which side's a lot more flexible than the other, right? Right here we have, this is by Matt Vincent. I can't remember what this is called, but basically you put this on a kettlebell. It's like a sock, it goes over his kettlebell. It's got these hard little knobs. So the weight of the kettlebell digs in, and you can push on it, and it digs into your, whatever area you're working. This actually works pretty good too. This one's pretty old. You can see a lot of these balls are kind of wore down from me using it, but this actually works pretty good. It wasn't really cheap. Can't remember how much it was, but I think you can find it like on Road Fitness or Hate Brand Goods, HV3 brand goods. TENS unit. These things, okay, so what they're designed for, they give you micro shocks, like electric shocks to whatever area you put them on. That's supposed to hide or disguise the pain receptors that go to your brain and make it so it doesn't hurt anymore. And it kind of works, right? You throw this thing on for like an hour, and before I go to bed, I'll throw this on for an hour, my back will feel a lot better, and then I can sleep just fine. Another great thing these are used for is recovery, because again, it gets that blood going in there, right? And I can't harp on that enough, because almost everything that is within recovery is just to get more blood to flow into that area, okay? Boom. So when I hurt my back and I came home, this was one thing that the insurance gave me. This is actually a decompression machine, right? You lay in here, you strap yourself in, and then you put this little pump, and it takes basically your hips and your rib cage area, and it pulls it apart. What that does, again, is flushes new blood into your discs in your back and making them more spongy, or whatever you want to call it. And that is supposed to reduce pain, and it works. This thing was a lifesaver to me for about a year or two. I used it every day, sometimes multiple times a day, for a little over a year, and this thing was awesome. And when you first use it, when you start pumping it, you hear your back pop, 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 and it just straightens out your spine. It lengthens everything in there, so your disc can get full of blood and water and all that good stuff. Something else that does that very similar is a reverse hyper that I have over here that's now conformed into a table, because I don't have hardly any room in this garage. So the reverse hyper works really well too. I use it a lot in my other gym that I had a little bit more room. Just don't have the room here. Well, let's see what else. Oh, I used to have a sauna. That was amazing. Joe Rogan has like a 1 hour thing all about sauna and all the things it does. And it's awesome. And I tell you what, if you have like a hurt back, which a lot of dudes in my former life have, right? Cops, contractors, army dudes, right? A lot of you guys have jacked up backs. buy a sauna. Those little infrared saunas you can buy on Amazon for like $1,500. Oh my God. You crank that bad boy all the way up. You sit in there for 20 minutes and your back is like butter. It just feels so amazing, right? Let's see, one thing I have done in the past, it would be an ice bath and or cryotherapy. Ice bath, pretty self-explanatory, right? You go into an ice bath, you lay in there for so long, and then you get out. You can either go in a sauna, you can do that heat-cold contrast, or you go about your day. Cryotherapy is this big like tube that you go in, and it gets like negative 200 degrees or some crazy shit, and you know that you just stand there for like 4 minutes, right? The point of both of them is when your body gets really cold, it constricts the veins and arteries and stuff, right? And then when you get out and get warm, it opens them up. And what happens? That's right, more blood flows in there, right? Oh, one thing I did not cover, scraping tools, right? These guys, granted, they may look like cool ninja stars, like if I was Batman, but they're not. You put this paste on your body. It's like almost like a lube, right? It's a white paste. It's like odor-free and shit. And you just take these, right, whatever it is, and you just go in your muscles and kind of dig in there, right? And they have different shapes and sizes for all different muscles. If you are like a masseuse, you actually know how to use these really good. You know that every one of these is for a different specific part of the body, blah, blah, blah. I am not that smart, but these are pretty cheap and they work really, really good if you have like tendonitis. I noticed that when I carry a lot of stuff, like when I do a lot of farmer's carries and frame carries and all things like that, when I'm doing a lot of grip extensive work in the gym, that I get tendonitis, my tendonitis flares up. So I take these guys, I put some of this cream on there, and I just go back and forth like this. You know, maybe not exactly like that, but you get my point. For like 10 minutes or so, and it works amazing, right? Again, these are cheap. You can buy them in a bundle. You can buy real expensive ones. You can buy not so expensive ones. These are pretty cheap. I bought them all independently from each other. And again, I was Dr. Kelly started, and I think Matt Vincent used it when he had his knee surgery. And I was like, well, I mean, if a two-time Highlands Games champion can use them, then I'll check them out. And that I did. Let's see what else we got. Obviously, a regular masseuse. I mean, yeah. Chiropractor, I went to one of those for a long time. They feel really good for right after they do it, but, you know, the day later they don't. Rehab, I went to rehab for, Jesus Christ, probably 2 years total, maybe. Yeah, probably about 2 years total. So the good and bad about rehab. If you get a rehab person, guy or girl, that used to be an athlete or still is an athlete, they are some of the best people in the world. I've had rehab people that were little scrawny dudes that didn't know what the gym even was, and I've had rehab people that were like old ladies that, again, didn't know what the gym was. And then I got a rehab lady that played volleyball in college. And I went to her and I said, hey, listen, this is what's wrong with me. This is what I need help with. But I'm not like one of those people, okay? I need more than that. I need, extra. And she's like, I got you. I know exactly what you need. And she was amazing. She had never heard of Dr. Kelly Starrett before. I let her borrow the book. She actually said she printed off a bunch of stuff because she thought it was really good information. And we put a lot of those principles to work. She's the one that got me this decompression thing. And it was, it's night and day difference between a rehab that knows what they're doing and somebody that doesn't, right? Okay, so dry needling. I've done that before a lot. Kind of the same principle, right? You stick the needle in there and you twist it, and it's supposed to like really aggravate the muscle. You pull it out and then blood flushes in there. It's all the same stuff. Let's see. So some of the things I haven't done body tempering. Body tempering is something that Donnie Thompson came up with. Basically, you lay down and mostly on your belly. You can on your back, I guess, and do your thighs. But you put a big fucking weight on whatever muscle it is, right? He uses pipes that are like 150 pounds, stuff like that. Puts it like right on your calves. and then rolls it up and down and digs in when he's rolling it. And I've never done that. I kind of want to do it, but I don't know anybody that can around here that can just like grab that and put it on me. I know when he does it, the guys that he does it to are a lot of power lifters, and those dudes are screaming when he's doing it, but they say it feels amazing after the fact. So I want to try that. Well, the other thing I haven't tried is, I can't remember what they're called, but those big things that you put on your legs and you pump them up and they basically compress all your legs. Again, it's all the same shit. They compress it, it restricts it, you let it go, new stuff flows in there, right? Again, all the same shit. Let's see. That's about it. The only thing I haven't talked about was drugs, right? Okay. So, on my other video, I talked about steroids and how I'm on TRT, right? TRT hasn't done a single fucking thing for any of my injuries, okay? It may help you out with like DOMS, like delayed onset muscle soreness. If you don't work out for a while and then you squat, you can't walk the next day. It may help for that. It may help your recovery for that. But as far as actual like injuries, I haven't seen it do shit. It hasn't done nothing for me. Maybe I'm fucking using them wrong. I don't know, but it hasn't done shit for me, right? Muscle relaxers, when my back goes out, your two erector muscles on the side of your spine, they will lock up. They'll get rock hard, right? I mean like rock hard. And they won't let me stand up. Like literally I'm hunched over. I'm usually off to the side and I'm hunched over like this. And I've had to go to the ER, cut 3 or 4 times for it. So muscle relaxers help me out with that. They work great for my injury in my back. They didn't do shit for my shoulders or anything like that, okay? One thing that I found that has helped me with inflammation is this stuff, Kratom, all right? Kratom is, you know what? Go on, I want to say it's on Netflix, or you could Google it. And Mark Bell's brother, Chris Bell, did an entire documentary about this plant called Kratom. It's a tea leaf that you crush, that you dry, you crush up, and then you take in a pill. It's not illegal. It's also not like FDA approved, right? They're still doing the studies on it. But I have done my own studies, and I found out that when I get off of these, I find myself a lot more stiff in the morning, kind of not really energetic to go to the gym because I hurt so bad. But when I do take these on a regular basis, then I find myself feeling much better when I wake up, not as stiff, and way more energetic to go to the gym. These are used, you can get them, these, let's see. I got these at Laughing Lion Herbs, and these are the white ones. I think I get like the white and the green. And basically they just take the kratom tea leaf and they put other stuff in there like caffeine and stuff like that for like energy. That's about it. Like I said, they're not illegal. You're not gonna piss hot or anything like that. But if you have constant inflammation, which we all do, right? Then, especially if you're old, then these can help. I mean, it's possible they can help. So again, I have run the gamut of rehab and recovery tools. I have tried almost everything. And there's stuff that I still go to and stuff that I don't. Foam rollers, kind of got away from them a while ago. These things haven't been used forever. Yoga, I still do some moves from yoga, but remember this, I don't stretch my muscles when they're cold, I stretch them when they're warm, okay? Means like after a workout. Or after I get warmed up at least. Then, like the massage stick, awesome for your shin bone, where you always get shin splints, and your calf muscles. The massage gun, awesome for everywhere. TENS unit, again, awesome. If I get tendonitis, then voodoo floss and scraping works great. Again, I take kratom every day. I don't use kinesiology tape anymore. I've kind of gone away from the tiger balm and all that stuff. Kind of gone away from all that. If my shoulder or something gets really sore, I'll throw some on. Again, I think it's more of a placebo thing for myself, but I still do it because I think it works. I don't know. But that's about it, man. Like I said, there's certain things, lacrosse balls, if your back really hurts, or if your foot hurts, or plantar fasciitis and all that stuff. Like all this stuff is still kind of doing the same shit, right? It wants more blood. The more blood flow you can get to an area, the better it is, right? Movement and blood heals. Blood gives you all the nutrition and oxygen and all the good things for your joints and your infected or hurt areas. And when you compress it and then release it, all this bad stuff goes out and the good stuff goes in. Oh, let's see. Like I said, buy one of these. You don't have to buy the expensive one, man. They're like $600-700. It's fucking crazy. It's like $80. You probably get them cheaper nowadays on Amazon. Wouldn't doubt it. But that is about it. If you have questions, drop them below. Let's see. And if you have any ideas that you want me to do a video on, drop them below. I'll either say yay or nay. I had one dude ask for taxes about contracting. I didn't do my own taxes. I don't know shit about that stuff. I called the guy in California and he did it for me. And that would be like a 30-second video. But I'm open to all ideas, whatever you guys want. I'm open to it. So that's about it. Always ask yourself, are you an asset or a liability? What's up, man?
Hey, Dad.
What's up?
I just want to say I love you.
I love you too, buddy.
Bye.